It's December 17th. It is 1:11 a.m. And I decided to make this video because I was doing some late night bitmap shopping and then started going down the Twitter bitmap rabbit hole as I do from time to time. I actually have a bitmap list. You can go find that list, and that's kind of how I keep up to date with what's going on in bitmap. And I ran across Redisdead and wanted to go ahead and make this video because I kind of had one of those moments where things just kind of felt serendipitous. And at E3 Digital, we investigate, learn, write, and study, or learn, study, and write about emerging technologies through the lens of human action and culture. And with that being said, a big part of looking at emerging technologies through a lens of human action and culture is kind of this intersection of NFTs and art and digital collectibles and ordinals. And many of you guys will know that I've been an NFT and ordinals collector for a long time, but maybe you don't know that. And I kind of want to explain how I came across Redisdead, and I just made a purchase of Random Art Memory, as you'll likely know from the title, and want to kind of run you guys through. I know very little about this artist, right? But on December 3rd, Casey Rodamore, who many of you guys know, he's a Bitcoin developer and is in part responsible for, I believe, the Ordinals protocol, if I'm not mistaken off the top of my memory. But he also runs Hell Money Podcast, and he's just a good listen, someone you need to pay attention to in the space because he's a very good developer. And he recently did this podcast where he was talking about all the second layers that are being built on top of Bitcoin, and he was ranking them, and he was shitting on bitmaps in that interview a little bit. But then on December 3rd, he said, I'm really starting to warm up to bitmaps. And he links to bitmaps sunset. And I've made videos in the past, and I'll hopefully have that pop up right now, where I've talked about what I see happening in bitmaps and the development that's taking place and why I'm excited about bitmaps as an open metaverse. And I'm seeing, sort of all these independent developers building on top of Bitcoin as the base layer, and bitmaps being this idea of digital land, and how this kind of maps with my understanding of Satoshis as very valuable bits that are very hard to move and very slow, and like golden bits of data. And I've talked about this as it relates to Jason Lowery's Soft Wars. I'll have that video pop up so you can go and see what I'm kind of talking about there. But so I've been following Bitmap Sunset for a while. He's a developer. And so Casey linked to this post, and when you come to Bitmap Sunset, you kind of see what's going on. But essentially what's being built seems to be kind of like a Roblox of sorts on Bitmap. And I went and looked at Bitmap Sunsets. It looks like there's some sort of 100-piece collection associated with Bitmap Sunsets, but they're quite expensive. And really just kind of started scrolling through and taking a look at what Bitmap Sunset has recently been doing, what he's been building and posting. And then I noticed that 2 days ago, he said, playing with Redisdead free Ross RAM inscription. And I don't know what that is, but it sounded really interesting. So I clicked on Redisdead, and first thing I see is that this is an artist. Okay, so you kind of look through. Obviously, he's got the what is this connection? The Bitcoin puppets, which they're a well-known collection in ordinals and Web3. He says, Random Art Memory is escaping from reality. Our dedicated Bitmap Sunset Billboard 3 has been secured. Ignite the fire for the freedom. And so I had already kind of ascertained that there are these different Bitmap Sunsets that are available to be purchased. I don't really understand exactly how they integrate, and what the total vision here is. But there seemed to be some sort of connection between Redisdead and Bitmap Sunset. And I like when I find projects that are being built and artists that are associated with those projects. That's actually how I found Xcopy Art back in 2017. He was building a project. He was an artist as part of the I can't remember which project it was, but it was with Blockade Games and Margaret And he was an associated artist. So when I see artists that are also like pseudo technologists and associated with building and being at the forefront of technology and building, I get very excited about that. And so immediately just went to his link tree, which popped up here, and started looking at what he's been doing and what he's got going on. It looks like he's a French artist. I only know that because I clicked on this YouTube video and I couldn't understand what was being said because it was all in French. But obviously he had these three art projects, and we'll look at those in a second. But I want you guys to see. I think I might have it pulled up already. Oh, well, I gave it away. Okay, here it is. So if you click on Random Art Museum, this is where you come, right? It's sort of this interactive exhibit of different pieces that the artist has made being displayed here. And when you click on Random Art Memory here, you get brought to Magic Eden. And a punchline, I just purchased the cheapest floor Random Art Memory NFT. It already kind of popped up, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up. And it was really cool because this one spoke to me. I think it was the second strongest one that spoke to me. I think the first one was the Black Pope. I thought that one was, pretty interesting. It just kind of spoke to me. And a lot of when you are buying art is you have to go off vibes, right? And you also have to, you want to buy things like, that's the good thing about being an art collector and an art investor, is that truly I am building an art collection for my grandchildren. Like, I truly think that Bitcoin art and digital art and NFTs, but particularly ordinals, I think are going to become, sort of a very transformative moment in crypto art history. I think there'll be entire exhibits, entire art galleries. And so me as a collector and as an investor, I like to buy things that I like, that resonate with me. And that's where you have to kind of, when you talk about human action and culture with investing, right? It's a lot about decisions that are made at the margin, and also being in touch with what's going to resonate over time in terms of culture, what's going to have cultural zeitgeist, what's going to have pool. Obviously, this collection, I think, is going to have cultural pool because, one, you have the Bitcoin orange, but two, a lot of these images, they speak to a moment in time. Particularly, you have the Andrew Tate. You have the Black Pope, which obviously did not come to fruition, but was still an interesting moment in time. The Elon Musk, Hitler pose or whatever it was, hawk to a girl. And me, I end up getting this cooked dat hippo. And I liked it because I am also a meme coin investor. And I know that Moodeng was a big part of the meme coin boom that we saw in 2024, maybe a little bit early 2025. I kind of don't remember. And then Cooked is, a Twitter sort of personality that has been controversial to say the least. Love him, hate him, I don't have an opinion, but it spoke to me as a cultural moment. And I know that most people will look at this image and they will have no idea what it means. But those who look at it and do know what it means, it will speak to them. And that's something that is powerful in art, right? When there's sort of like a group of people who understand what is being said. And so that was why I liked this one. And it was actually the cheapest one that was available. So I bought it. I am now the owner of Cook That Hippo. And I really just wanted to go ahead and highlight this artist because, one, this was just kind of one of those moments where this all just felt like kind of right. He has this other collection. I bought a couple of these, very grassroots artist, and it seems like his big thing is MS Paint. See, I can't even read what this says because it's all in French. But if you come here, these are one of one on-chain MS Paint art made along the time engraving moments of the century. No idea what this is saying. However, when you click on some of these images, see if I can find. I'm not gonna pull up the one. I'm just gonna pull up a random one, but one that I like. I bought some that had the black cat. There's like, they feel very youthful, right? They feel like very unrefined, but I think it's interesting when you take what is kind of like a child's medium of art, essentially using markers on a piece of paper. In many sense, this looks like something that an elementary school person could create, but it also kind of tells an interesting story, right? Like a pull to youth, a pull to when those of us who are in Web3 right now, when we were younger, many of us were probably, especially in the NFT and crypto art sort of intersection, many of us were artists ourselves and probably view ourselves as artists, and we're young artists. And, we were the type who were in school, who were doodling and who were always drawing. And me personally, I used to make comics when I was a kid, and I would hand draw comics and go copy them on the copier machine and sell them in my neighborhood. And that was something that I had taken from Captain Underpants, right? But the point I'm getting at is a lot of these pieces, they seem simple and they seem amateur, but to me, there's also an interesting story being told here. And, I think there are 340 of these, but it's called Love Message. That's the name of the collection. And I think I already pulled up. It seems to be associated. This is another website. If you come here to the link tree, Love Machine seems to be associated with Love Message, right? Didn't dig too deep into it, but it seems like there's some sort of way, let me pull it up, where you can use your inscription ID and load your Love Machine. I'm not going to do that right now because I haven't done it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to mess around, and I don't want this video to be super long. But then you also see that he's on SoundCloud, right? In this other collection that I liked a lot, and I'll show you guys my favorite one. I think if this artist becomes big, I think this will be one of his biggest pieces, because this one just spoke to me. And I think a lot of people will resonate with this piece for whatever reason. But I'm not going to spend that kind of money. And that's the best thing about investing in crypto art, right? Is that you can buy things that you like. And I bought some of these pieces for $10, right? The Love Machine or Love Messages were $10. I think the Cooked Capital I bought was 0.000 0.001, I think it was like $60 essentially. So like very affordable to buy things, and you have to be, you're betting on people, right? And there's a good chance that this artist completely flops, right? And Redisdead, he may pass away tomorrow and maybe his art never becomes big, but I have a connection with that artist and I like the art and I'm going to keep it and maybe one day be able to display it. I think my ultimate dream in my own world, weird head, that is to one day maybe have like an art exhibit, maybe an art museum, and it's just, we don't know where any of this is headed. But when I see an artist like this, who is really at the forefront of bitmaps, something I like, technology, emerging technologies, and culture, and it speaks to me. I think I already mentioned he's on SoundCloud too. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but it looks like, some sort of like, see if, I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't think you can, but it's playing in my ear and it's a very beautiful song. You have to imagine that you can listen to his music as you are engaging in his art, and it kind of creates an entire experience. And so, this video has gone on long enough. Thank you guys for watching. Redisdead, check him out on Twitter. Redisd34D. Redisdead, MS Paint Alchemist. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the work, the art, what you guys are seeing on bitmaps, what you guys are seeing on ordinals. I love hearing from you guys and engaging with you guys. So please drop a comment below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.